Good day, my name is Bluesuit and today I'll be going over my review of the early access Norse mythology based open world co-op survival crafting RPG adventure known as Valheim. Long ago, the Allfather Odin gathered up all of his greatest enemies and exiled them to the 10th Norse world of Valheim. Only now, centuries later, Odin begins hearing rumors of their growing strength, so he orders his Valkyries to seek out and deliver Midgard's greatest fallen warriors to purge it of the chaotic evil creatures that have long threatened the safety of the realms. You play as one such warrior, plucked from death to serve Odin in Valheim. Once you arrive, you are greeted by one of Odin's legendary ravens, Hugin, who helps guide you on your travels and serves as Valheim's tutorial. Hugin explains that each of the 5 mysterious standing stones represents one of Odin's forsaken enemies, all of which must be slain in order to ascend to Valhalla. It's a great opening sequence that lays down enough interesting backstory that when the game actually begins, the stage feels set and you can focus on the game's primary mechanics, the combat and the crafting. The combat in Valheim took me by surprise, and I spent several hours in the game before I really realized how good it was. There are several unique weapon types in the game that all offer their own damage types and attributes, and the damage of these weapons is based on how many times you've upgraded that weapon and your skill level with that particular weapon type. If you want to raise your skill level with any weapon, action, or ability, all you have to do is use it. If you want to be a better swimmer, you swim. If you want to be a better wood gatherer, you go chop down some trees. It's not a super unique system these days, but it definitely serves to make my character feel unique and tailored to my playstyle. In combat, you're going to need a well-rounded character build to be the most successful, as some enemies are more susceptible to specific types of damage. For example, when I made it into the Black Forest, skeletons were highly resistant to all damage types, with the exception of my club that dealt blunt damage and more easily staggered my foes. In addition to this, combat got even deeper when I learned about Valheim's parry and iframe mechanics. If you block at the right time, you can parry an enemy, giving you a wide opening to deal some serious damage. It's unexplained in the game's tutorial, but it's something that most players will discover on accident and slowly hone over time in combat. The other great part of Valheim's combat is iframe rolling. If you don't know what that is, you become invincible for several animation frames every time you roll. I didn't figure this out until Valheim's first big boss, and once I did, it completely opened up combat for me and made me significantly stronger. But there are some drawbacks that need ironed out. For starters, the iframe window feels really huge and forgiving. I was able to beat the first boss with only my starter gear and on my first try because it could rarely ever land a hit on me. The second drawback is that the dodge controls are a bit overcomplicated. Valheim's overall control scheme feels really good and intuitive, but this was one area where it is a little awkward. I'm not going to be showing the bosses in this video because they are so cool. Everything changes when you see the first boss, because up until that point in the game, everything is just pleasant wilderness. It's not until you make that first altar sacrifice to summon that first boss do you remember that these are Odin's greatest enemies. The crafting system in Valheim does take a backseat to the combat at this stage in early access, but it still checks all of the boxes and meets all the standards that players have come to expect from the genre. There are hundreds of crafting recipes to get to work on, lots of building options, and even the ability to terraform the lands around you to give you the ability to build that perfect meat hall or castle or settlement. I was blown away when I built a smokehouse to cook all my meat, and then the roof actually caught all of the smoke. And even more amazing was that when I walked in there while cooking something, I took damage because my character couldn't breathe. For a day 1 early access to include such minor details like this speaks volumes about how it might look when it's ready for a full release. Right now you can pick up Valheim on Steam for $20, a price that the developers have said will likely increase as the game develops over the next year of early access. It's honestly off to a really incredible start as a highly stable multiplayer crafting RPG that already offers player-hosted and dedicated servers. Nearly every early access title isn't going to be worth full price, but Valheim is one rare exception to that rule. With its huge procedurally generated open world, numerous biomes, enemies, dungeons, crafting recipes, coupled with its virtually bug-free, stable performance in and out of multiplayer, I'm valuing Valheim at $26, and I'd highly recommend you pick it up if you're a fan of third-person survival crafting games, especially if you have someone to play with. I hope you enjoyed this review of Valheim. Come see me on Twitch where you can watch our reviews in progress 5 nights a week. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time, peace!